Hello everyone. Today we are going to discuss about megasporogenesis. In previous video we have discussed about microsporogenesis. Okay. These two events comes under pre-fertilization events where actually gametes are formed. Genesis always means synthesis where gametes are formed. So in this we are going to discuss about the formation of female gamete. Okay. Now we know that in a flower the male reproductive organ is represented by stamen, whereas the female reproductive part is gynoecium. It is also known as pistil or carpel. Okay, and each gynoecium has got three different parts. The upper part where pollen lands is called stigma, slender stalk like part is called style, and the bulged part is called as ovary. Okay, and if you will see that if we will cut a ts of this ovary, we will find a structure like this where the outermost part is called ovary wall. Inner empty compartment is called locule. Here it is represented as L, and L means locule, and ovules are attached with this structure is called placenta. Okay, and always remember that ovules are also known as megasporangia, and singular is megasporangium, plural is megasporangia. Okay, and these number of ovules vary from plants to plants. Like you will find single ovule in wheat, paddy, and mango. Okay, and you will find more than one ovules in plants like papaya, watermelon, orchids, etc. Okay, so always remember these names as they can be asked in examples in board exam also. Okay, now I hope it is clear. Now moving on, if you will see gynoecium or a pistil, we can again divide them on the basis of fused pistil, whether the pistils are fused or not, or on the basis of number of pistils. If you will see a pistil, you will find that in some styles are more than one in number. So if style is more than is if style is, or you can say pistil is only one, then we call this condition as monocarpillary condition. Mono means one. And if pistil is two in number, then it is called as bicarpillary condition. Okay, and if they are more than three, okay, so monocarpillary, bicarpillary, tricarpillary, and if they are more than three, we use another term for it. It is called multicarpillary condition. Okay, so for having more than one pistil, multicarpillary condition. For having only one single pistil, monocarpillary condition. And if condition is multicarpillary, then again two conditions are there, either syncarpous condition or apocarpous condition. Okay, in syncarpous condition and apocarpous condition, we have divided them into two categories on the basis of either pistils are fused or they are free. In case pistils are fused, then we use this term apocarpous condition. And if pistils are if pistils are free, then we use this term apocarpous condition, and if pistils are fused, then we use another term, that is syncarpous condition, this one. Okay, so if pistils are free, apocarpous condition, and if pistils are fused, syncarpous condition. Okay, now moving on, here you can see that this is multicarpillary syncarpic condition, where you can see that pistils sometimes they appear more than one like this, but ovaries are fused. This is also a gynoecium having syncarpous condition. So this is also a multicarpillary syncarpous condition. And sometimes what happens, these pistils fuse together, like in this diagram it is shown that they are fused into one, and they have got fused compartments also. So this is the fused ovary. So again it is multicarpillary syncarpous condition. Okay. Now moving on, we have got multicarpillary apocarpous condition. Okay, where carpels are not fused. Okay, carpels are not fused here, or you can say pistils are not fused. So they are, or you can say they are separate. So they are called multicarpellary apocarpous condition. Okay. Now moving on, that ovules are the most important part in an ovary. Okay. So this diagram is showing different parts of an ovule. Okay. Now this ovule is attached with placenta and the stalk like part, and it is called hilum. Okay. Below it there is another part, and this is a fused part, or you can say it is a region between stalk and the ovule, and this is called funicle. Okay. Now this ovule is covered with uh, two envelopes. One is called integument, outer integument, and the other one is called inner integument. So they are basically protective in nature. So they protect a mass of tissue inside it, which is called nucellus. So this green part here is nucellus, surrounded by layers of integuments. Okay. Now moving on, if you will see that at one part integuments are not present, or you can say that integuments are interrupted, and this part is called micropyle. Okay. And this region having micropyle is called micropylar region or micropylar pole. And the region opposite to this is called chaliceal region, and we also call it chaliceal pole. Okay. When this nucellus, or you can say that when megasporogenesis completes and development of female gametophyte also completes, the structure forms embryo sac, or we can also call it as female gametophyte. Okay. So this is the basic structure of ovule. This is often asked in your exam also, so learn it properly. Okay. Now moving on to the most important event, that is megasporogenesis. Okay. Now always remember that in megasporogenesis, megaspore mother cell, okay, or you can say this megaspore mother cell forms from, or it differentiates from nucellus. Okay. We have discussed about nucellus. So nucellus, from nucellus this megaspore mother cell differentiate, and only one megaspore mother cell forms from the nucellus tissue. Okay. Keep this in mind, that megaspore mother cell is formed, only one megaspore mother cell is formed, which is obviously diploid in nature. And this is also called as, you know, that any gamete mother cell is also known as meiocyte. We have discussed in first chapter. So megaspore mother cell is formed from nucellus. Okay. Each megaspore mother cell contains a nucleus which undergoes meiotic division, or we can also call it reduction, division, or meiosis. Okay. So each nucleus first forms two nuclei, then 3, then 4. So we can say that megaspore mother cell forms megaspore dyad, then it forms triad, then it finally forms tetrad. Tetrad means having 4 megaspore cells. Okay. And with this meiosis completes, and out of these 4, 3 degenerates, or you can say becomes non-functional, and only 1 remains functional. And the functional one is called functional megaspore, or we can also call it as haploid condition, because this is the gamete now. Okay. Formed after meiosis. Okay. I hope it is clear. I'm repeating it once again. Megaspore mother cell is formed from nucellus tissue, and only one megaspore mother cell differentiates from nucellus tissue. It then divides through meiosis or reduction division and forms dyad, triad, and finally forms tetrad. Tetrad itself means 4 megaspores. Out of 4, 3 degenerates and only 1 remains functional, and it is called as functional megaspore, which is haploid in nature. Okay. I hope it is clear. It is called megasporogenesis. You can see here, it is clearly depicted in this picture, and where you can see that the nucellus tissue, from nucellus tissue megaspore mother cell is formed, and megaspore mother cell divides into dyad, triad, and finally into tetrad, 4 cells. And out of these 1, 2, 3 and 4 cells, only one remains functional and other 3 degenerates. Okay. Therefore, from only one, now this one left will give rise to, only single megaspore will give rise to embryo sac और फीमेल गेमेटोफाइट. जो एक मेगास्पोर बचेगा इन 4 में से, ठीक है, that one will give rise to embryo sac now. Embryo sac. Okay. So this type of development where only one megaspore gives rise to embryo sac. Always remember, one is giving rise to embryo sac, so we call it monosporic development. Okay. So this is monosporic development. Now moving on, from megaspore, female gametophyte will be formed, and we call it monosporic development. And now meiosis was already over. Now another type of division will take place, which is called as mitosis. Okay. So now further division will take place. Let's discuss through this diagram. Here you can see that from that is from megaspore contain only one nucleus. This one nucleus through mitosis divides, this nucleus divides and forms two nucleus, or you can see two nuclei. These two nuclei successively divides further, or you can say sequentially divides further through mitosis and forms 4 nuclei. You can see 4 nuclei here. From 2 it becomes 4 nuclei, and from 4 it forms 8 nuclei. These nuclei starts moving towards opposite poles. Okay. 2 moves towards micropylar end, another 2 moves towards chalazial end. Okay. And the middle one, middle two nuclei moves into the middle central region. Okay. So here you can clearly see that 3 finally reaches towards the micropylar end, 3 reaches towards the antipodal end, and only 2 are still at the center. So this is called as the central cell, and these 2 nuclei are called 2 polar nuclei. Okay. The 3 cells towards micropylar end are called, 2 are called synergids and 1 is called egg cell. And towards chalazial end you will find 3 cells, and which are called antipodals. Okay. So now after complete, when they move and cell walls are laid down, after that it forms a mature embryo sac. So this is the structure of mature embryo sac, where you can clearly see that towards chalazial end 3 antipodals are present, and towards micropylar end you will find 2 synergids and 1 egg cell, and polar nuclei is in the center, and this is also called as central cell. Okay. And there here you can also see one more structure, finger like structures, which is called filiform apparatus. This filiform apparatus has got only one function, that it is believed that it guides pollen tube, which contains male gametes, towards egg cell. So this is the basic function of filiform apparatus. Okay. I hope it is clear. So this is the slide which shows the different steps of development of female gametophyte. Okay. Now the most important thing is that the mature embryo sac having egg apparatus, here egg apparatus means 2 synergids and 1 egg cell. Okay, don't get confused what is the meaning of egg apparatus. Egg apparatus simply means 2 egg cell and 2 synergids and 1 egg cell, 2 polar nuclei, which is also called central cell, and 3 antipodals. Okay. So it is believed that the angiosperm, the embryo sac of angiosperm is 8 nucleate and 7 celled. Okay. Why do we call it so? It is very easy to understand. 8 nucleate, if you will if you will start counting nuclei, you will find antipodals. Here we can count it like 1, 2 and 3. Towards micropylar end, again 1, 2, 3, 6. Then again 2 nuclei are in the center. Okay. 6, 7, 8. 8 nucleate. It is clear. Now if you will start counting cells, cells are with nucleus and cell wall. So cells are towards chelazal end 1 2 3, towards micropylar end 1 2 3. So 6 cells, and in the center polar nuclei is counted as only single cell. That is why we call it as central cell. This is the central cell. So 1. So cells are, number of cells are 3 antipodals plus 3 2 synergids and 1 egg cell, 6, and plus 1 central cell. So it becomes 7 celled. Okay, so that is why it is commonly called as angiosperm embryo sac is commonly called as 8 nucleate and 7 cell. It is often asked in exams to explain why do we call it so. Okay, I hope it is clear. If you will see mature embryo sac, sometimes in exam you have to draw this mature embryo sac, and sometimes you have to draw whole megasporogenesis depicting through diagrams. So you have to draw all the diagrams. Okay, so learn this diagram also. This is the diagram which is mature embryo sac. Okay, from in megasporogenesis, the megaspore is formed. Okay, out of 4 megaspores, 3 degenerates and only 1 is left. 1 megaspore now forms mature embryo sac. It is also called as mature female gametophyte. So don't get confused. Embryo sac and female gametophytes are same. Okay, so I hope that the segment is clear and you must have understood it well. Thank you.